Okay, guys, come on. Come on, it's going on YouTube. It's going on YouTube. You can't just like throw shit at me the whole time, all right? All right, let's talk about the herosiege tree. Okay, yeah, everybody say hi to YouTube after you sprayed me and put me in a wig. Jesus Christ. So for reference, you get 1 point per hero level, but that's going to be plenty to actually like fully do a build. It's going to be enough to, holy shit, there's a whole thing down here I haven't even looked at. What is this? Oh, it's the conversions. Oh fuck, there's conversion nodes. Oh no, who put the hat on me? You sure they tested it? I mean, I'm going to test it. Oh yeah, no, there's more that's going to be added. This isn't even the complete tree as far as I can tell. There's going to be more. Don't say YouTube take this and then type wicked salami. Good God. Good God. All right. So I want to talk about like the top half of the tree. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting nodes in here that I'm like very curious about what kind of builds can be cooked up. So like immediately I was like looking at a lot of this tree. Let's okay. So like first off, like you can look at some interesting stuff. I think it's summons. Yeah, summon. So immediately you can look at summons. There's some truly fucked up shit in here for summons. There's a lot of stuff in here for summons that is very interesting. So summons is one of the things that I want to test a little bit because I want to see if summons are back. You can summon this. So let's just glance at some of the summon like big nodes immediately. Chance for summon projectile to fork on hit with 1 extra projectile, meaning any summon that shoots a projectile can fork that projectile to another target, and they also get an extra proj. There's also summon projectile size. On top of that, there's chance for summon projectiles to chain, and some projectile chain hits unleash a void blast, dealing damage around the target. So a proj node for summons, as well as forking and chaining for their abilities, meaning ranged summons could be back on the board. Skeletal mages, things like that. We also have summons hits to knock monsters up, which could be phrased differently because I realized how that sounded when I said it. So these are some cool things about summons right here, like some of the top nodes. You see like knock up damage, like they actually take damage. Some of these have been seen before, but some of them are like very, very interesting. Summon splash damage, maximum summon amount with more summon life, and chance to unleash an additional attack or projectile on attack. That one's crazy. 20% summon attack speed. Summon attack speed is one of the best summon stats in the entire game. And here you get 20% as well as a 35% chance to do an additional attack or projectile, meaning 35% of the time, if you have this node and this node, they're firing 2 extra projectiles. Summon splash damage around the target. Yeah. Summon frequency. So a lot of cool stuff there. Graxy kind of showed off some of the SRS stuff a little bit already, but that's a very interesting concept. I don't know if I'll show it off much, but there is an entire like Sand Guardian section up here for Illusionists. Guardian section, or what do they call them, like Sentinels? So that's cool. Let's talk about like where the base tree starts. So the base tree, we have like multiple paths. You have your like defensive, like tankier path over here. You have like your more physical damage. You have range down here. And then up here is more of your like caster and imp path. We're going to focus on the caster and imp path, and then as I get permission to do so, I'll show off more and more of these sides of the trees. But I want to focus on the top and like purple side. These are the ones that I really want to talk about because these are the ones that are interesting to me because I primarily play casters. I have permission to show stuff off, and I'm going to show more of it off as we get closer to beta and closer to PoE, where I'll be more focused on that. But I want to show off. The only thing we were asked to do is not show off every fucking node in the tree. Like, don't go here and go through every single node like exhaustingly, like, and show everything. That's why I'm only going to show this part and maybe other parts late at another time. Let's look at some of your starter nodes. So right off the rip, like what I said before, is you get 1 point per hero level. Hero levels come pretty quick early on, so you can immediately get some interesting stuff. So immediately you have like 2 sides. You have your mana side here, and you have your magic damage and inside here. So like you can start with magic skill damage, you can start with mana replenish, and you can go straight up into faster cast speed. You have increased faster cast rate, faster cast rate, faster cast rate, and this leads up to total faster cast rate by 5%. Keep in mind that spell haste itself, 15 here, there is just 40. That is cooldown reduction, meaning for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, you're getting 40 CDR, as well as a bunch of cast speed and a total cast speed modifier. This is within 5 points of the tree, meaning at hero level 5, you could have this. D4 board game thing going away in this addition to this? Yes, the Paragon tree is going away, and this is what's going to replace it. Stop saying cat speed. Stop typing cat speed. Now, in addition to this, there's also things like if you're struggling with mana, which is actually something a lot of classes do, you have things like the energy or your energy stacking. You have 1% of max mana regenerated per second. So if you're mana stacking, this is fucked. So you can go up this side and look at this node. 8% of intelligence converted to magic skill damage and 25% in. or 25 int. So right off the rip there, like you're converting int. There's also items that convert int into magic damage. Like Thoth's does it, like fucking, God, there's so many like int converters. So there's a lot of conversion here. Now this pairs up with, you go over here, you get int, you get all attributes, more all attributes, and there's a 40 int node here and a 3% increased int node here. Now, if you want to see something else I noticed when I was looking at the concept of int stacking, there's more percent nodes around here, as well as multiple intellect nodes all over the tree. So the level of int you could get with just like basic stats, so you got 3, 6, 9% increase of int there. And then 40 int, you know, you got your 25 here with the 8% conversion. Just on the tree alone, there's a huge chunk of intelligence. So you're talking like crazy int stacking capability. So cool stuff there. And yeah, as someone mentioned, there is like elemental specific stuff. Like there's poison total poison damage, by the way, total. I'm very curious about the wording on this to see how this plays out, but these say total. You know, this is 15 poison damage. This is increased damage. Like these are flat values. So I think these count as skill values. Same for lightning over here. You have flat and you have percent, but then you have total damage. This would probably be a more multiplier, as you have total faster cast rate, which we saw this, we saw total attack speed as well on other items in season 8. So season 9, we're looking at bigger, more modifiers. You have it for cold, you have it for fire. It should be for arcane up here. Yeah, right here's arcane. Your percentages and your flat. These are like, I'm fucking vibing for these on Demon Spawn, by the way. These are nasty. So caster stonks are going up and they're going to get better. I can't talk about those nodes today, but I will eventually. And you're going to see all this when I play the beta. So let's talk a little bit about like some of that. Let's talk about how fucked up casters are going to be, like straight up. But okay, real quick. I just tabbed over this. I want to show you. I want everybody to look at that node. So you remember how I talked a lot about how ailments just don't do fucking damage? I in 2 videos now, I've talked about ailments don't do shit. So you have this node, Asphyxiating Touch. 225% of skills damage is added to ailment damage. That is an obscene number. That means ailments will actually be viable short and long term, because the biggest problems with ailments in Hero Siege is if you're too ailment focused, you couldn't kill monsters quickly enough, like in things like PoE, because monster health scaling is the vector of scaling between a white mob and a rare mob in Hero Siege is a lot different from PoE. In PoE, white mobs just kind of like fall over. Same thing with like blue monsters. Here, there's affixes that get slapped on blue monsters that keep them alive for too long, like haunted, things like that. With this adding skill damage to dots or ailment over time, you're looking at like, and all of this, by the way, guys, quick note, I'll probably put it at the beginning of the video. All of this is subject to change. This number could be like fucking gutted by the time this goes to live. I'm just showing what is in the current build, and this is all going to go under extensive testing. They've added a lot of really competent beta testers. Like, isn't there an affix that makes monsters immune to ailments? Let's talk about my next point, which is death over time. 50% of monster damage over time immunity is shattered. We have that here, and we also have that here, meaning you can 100% pierce damage over time immunity, making ailments a fully viable build for any class that can use ailments at a high level. This is full damage over time break. So damage over time builds, and we're not even talking about like the big stuff yet for some of these. Like there's some stuff in here for damage over time. A lot of points if it's only one affix, potentially. But then you can move. I mean, how many points is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
One eternity later.
40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So here at level 48, you're fully, you can break all immunities for damage over. So there is a like level of moving the power up there. You have to grind for that to be able to achieve this, but that's like most builds. A lot of these are going to be a lot of points, but you know, that's the whole point of build crafting. Sometimes you need to play something else to unlock something else. You're not going to be able to play ailments right off the rip with this kind of setup, but there's these points, this is 48 points, and then you have what, 52 more points if you actually push for level 100. 52 more points, and there are ailment nodes on this tree. Like there's one down there. There's more down there. So that's ailments. Ailments are cool. We have our base elemental nodes, which are awesome. You have some sentry nodes in here, which I'm not super jazzed about, but if you're like a sentry player, which I believe are totems now, there's a lot of sentry stuff that's actually going to go pretty hard. What I want to look at is some of the caster nodes I'm very interested in, and some of the caster nodes that are going to be a little crazy. I genuinely think some of these nodes are going to like make some of the casters that I play broken as fuck. Let's start with wizardry. Begin a stack of wizardry every time you cast a spell up to 50 stacks. 1% faster cast rate per stack. That means this is 50 FCR at all times if you're constantly casting, meaning every cast gets faster, and every cast after that gets faster until you're sitting at 50. Gain a stack of Mage Guard when you cast a spell up to 10 stacks. 10% damage reduction when this stacks up. Only 10 casts to do this. Have you seen how fast some of these endgame casters are casting? This means 10% DR basically at all times. So we're already seeing like things that are going to be like extremely powerful, things you're going to want immediately as a caster. These aren't that far in the tree either. If you just like pivot over this direction, you pick these up quick. There's also other directions you can be able to come from for this. You can go straight up this way and then come over here, picking up int nodes along your way. You grab this for total faster cast rate and then pick this up. It's like cast is cats, casting became cat sync. No, it didn't. No, it did not. Talking about some of the cast speed stuff, some other fun nodes over here. Cast rate. Here is the other one. 50% increased total cast rate, but overheat after 10 seconds. Casts causing decreased cast rate, but increased total damage. So what happens is you get 50 FCR and then you lose that FCR, but like you go negative, you go 50 minus, but gain 50% increased total damage. So you're constantly cycling between what is two extremely high damage vectors with cast speed and total damage. And with enough cast speed, you're not going to notice this. Now, consider the fact that you're probably going to be wearing fucking Pendant of Eternity. You're probably going to have cast speed on your weapon. You're going to be having all this stuff that's like insane. So yeah, there's a lot of cast speed stuff over here. This stuff is like super cool because of what it's capable. You also have some fun nodes over here. And this one is very interesting for a lot of reasons. Agile Wizard. 100% of your increased attack speed is added as magic skill damage. You cannot regenerate life from life replenish, meaning you just don't regenerate life. You have to leech. So when we think about classes that can use magic skill damage as well as attacks, Exo is a very strong contender there. Jotun is a very strong contender there. Does Leech work? Leech works. Leech is not life replenish. Life replenish is just like base regeneration. Jotun Sunder. Yep. Sunder, Exo, things like that. Look at that. Magic skill damage, 100% of increased attack speed added as magic skill damage. You're not losing the fucking attack speed. You gain it as extra magic skill damage. I mean, if you have 100% attack speed, you get fucking 100% magic skill damage. Life replenish never really felt useful, so that doesn't seem like such a downside. That note seems cracked. Life replenish essentially is regeneration. So this just means you don't regen health anymore naturally. It means the only way to regain health is leech. So caster stonks are extremely high. You have more total elemental damage. You have critical hit chance with spells and spell duration. Like by the way, 3%, 6%, 9%, 19% chance to critically hit with spells and increase spell hit damage. That means spells can now crit. That means all casters can now crit at a 19% rate base. So that's 19. There's 22, 25, 28, 31, 34, 34% spell crit, 5% chance for spell critical hits to grant time surge, which is 50, which is, I don't even know what time surge is, but 50% extra spell projectiles, by the way. So you got a spell that fires projectiles? Yeah, Stormweaver stonks are looking up, huh? And then look at all the lightning stuff we got here. Total lightning damage. Stormweaver is going to be blasting Inferno. Mana stackers, interested in 1% increased magic skill damage per 100 points of mana? You thinking about that? Oh, hail the Jor King. Stop it. Stop it. We're recording. Up at the top, there's some very interesting nodes, but one I really want to highlight is Surging Storm. Every second you get a stack Surging Storm, you get 5% increased damage taken and done. So 50%, it's removed if you get hit. So if you never get hit, this node fucks. From what I've been told about this, the respecking of this will be pretty easy, simple, similar to the original tree. It's going to have a cost to it. Obviously a gold cost to keep gold costs, like gold value to matter if you never get hit, which you can achieve pretty easily in this game. Roll the dice. Increased effectiveness of the additional cast, because guess what? 1% chance to cast an additional time when casting combined with crits and faster cast speed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 13% chance to cast an additional time with 50% increased effectiveness of the additional cast. All of you who have played casters know how fucking fast you cast at endgame. You know how fast you cast. You know it's really goddamn. So now you've got this. You've got the ability to cast like even faster. You've got the ability to cast faster while, where's that goddamn node? While gaining or losing like cast speed or gaining damage. Like, it's obscene. It's actually obscene. Last century stuff. Also, interestingly enough, there's some life nodes here called Astral Tanks. This is probably to give some like relative beef options for casters. Does he interact the repeat cast from subskills though? It should. Well, you have to get into what's considered a cast. It most likely just means the main ability to cast it. But if the ability, say, has a trigger from a subskill or triggers a subskill, I would imagine that would also be duplicated. Because what this node is doing based on how like herosiege works is basically saying like, okay, you casted Blood Surge. I'm going to cast Blood Surge again immediately off of your like cast, like without triggering a cooldown or an actual cast. So like, it's not going to global cooldown lock you. It's not going to do anything anything. Item procs can trigger an additional cast. If that was considered a cast, the item procs are not considered casting spells. Casting a spell is using the ability. Item procs are just considered procs. As far as I know, they're not considered like a cast. Time Surge looks very interesting. That looks very interesting. Some more int here. Mana replenish now happens every 2 seconds with increased power. I don't know at what point you need that much mana. This is going to be like the biggest shakeup, change, and update Hero Siege has ever gotten in the time I've been playing since it became Hero Siege 2. This tree is taking this game to like a next fucking level of build crafting. There is no longer going to just be, I'm going to go play Bloodletter, Bloodletting PD. It's going to be, I'm playing Bloodletting PD as Ailment Bleed. I'm playing it as Extra Proj Crit. I am playing it as Health Stack with Conversion. I'm playing it with Elemental Conversion to trigger effects. This means that every class in this game now has more than one viable build. They may have multiple. They may have builds that play in ways we've never actually played the game before, and it's easily going to be the biggest, coolest, most fun update possible. Every class you can think of will now have ways to play that never played before. And we're getting more item updates, more new items, more items that are old items being revamped. This is like the most excited I've ever been for a season. There are sentry things. Yes, there's a lot of sentry stuff in here up on the caster side. There's a lot of sentry stuff. There's increased total sentry damage, but you can no longer deal damage yourself with sentry duration. There's also a chance for sentries to fire additional projectile, as well as a bunch of attack speed. There's the other tree. Yes. On top of this entire tree, when talking about Season 9, there is a whole other tree that works like the Atlas tree in Path of Exile, where you specialize in types of content that you want to farm, meaning you can farm specific content, which is one of the best aspects of Path of Exile. That is coming to Hero Siege in Season 9 along with this tree. There is no doubt in my mind that this is going to be the apex where Hero Siege becomes a full-fledged top-tier ARPG that can actually compete on the same level. It already could for me. It could already compete on this level for me. But now we're talking about the world stage. We're talking about Path of Exile, you're talking about Diablo, you're talking about Last Epoch, you're talking about TLI, you're talking about all these big names. Hero Siege will no longer fly under the radar. With this tree and these additions to its game, it cannot fly under the radar when it hits the right market and the right people is the most important thing. Booba skins? Genderbend skins? Roxy talked about it. Yeah, I knew it. I fucking knew you were going to mention that. But yeah, that's some of the tree stuff. That's kind of like the caster side of the tree and kind of what I wanted to like show for that aspect. I like the caster side of the tree so far. As someone who primarily prefers casters in all games, especially RPGs, I really like what I see so far.